Wow.
2,700 people. 2,000. Hello, welcome. And 400 people sitting and 300 standing in the upper levels. Even now, standing. Imagine that an opera or a ballet can last since 2 hours and a half until 5 hours, so you have to be standing there. Well, that's why there are intermissions and bars. The audience can go to the bars during the intermissions. And the main entrance was the one that used the richest families of Buenos Aires for different reasons from the rest of the audience. You have to imagine that in the 18th century, Buenos Aires used to be around the 0.5% of the inhabitants were immigrants from Europe. And those who just arrived at the end of the 18th century were the lower classes here. So that's why they used to come to see the performances, because they came from Europe and they came with this operating tradition from their countries. Most of them were Italians, but they used to enter to the side entrances, located on Diamante Street and Tucumán Street. And they used to go to these upper levels, the standing places. Those are, even now, the standing places and the cheapest places. The ticket there can cost around $4 to see an opera or a ballet. And in the most expensive places, the boxes, around $100. I know that worldwide is not so much, because if you go to Europe, the most expensive ticket on a box can cost more than €1,000, but in Argentina it's not. So these are the prices. When we go out, the prices go down. Okay, now we're going to see the choir. There's the main entrance behind me, remember? Opposite the square, not the avenue. Below the building, there are 3 different levels. Below the 9 of July Avenue and Diamante Street. Have you seen the square with the screen outside? That is Diamante Street. And in those we should look at the stage there. And there are the rehearsal rooms of the artistry. There is a rehearsal room for the choir, for the orchestra, for the dancers, the resident ballet of the theater. And we have a resident choir ballet, an orchestra, and the Philharmonic Orchestra of Buenos Aires, which is the orchestra of the city. They perform here too during the season. The season starts in March and it runs until December. So we are at the summer season now, and the auditorium is dark. There is no activity in the auditorium. And we have per season around 8 operas. In July and August, we can receive international artists from the States and Europe. When is the summer business in Europe and the States? We receive here guest artists. Have you been in Plaza de Mayo, where is the big house, the government house? That is the main square of the city. And there used to be the father building of the Colón Theater. And by the way, the name Colón is an homage to Columbus. In Spanish, we call to Christopher Columbus Cristóbal Colón. So it's an homage to Columbus since 1857. So it means that this current building is the second one. The first one was there, opposite the main square. It was inaugurated in 1857 with the opera La Traviata by Verdi. Giuseppe Verdi was an Italian composer. This theater in 1908 to Aida by Verdi too. That's why we call him the father of the theater. So every season there is at least one opera by Verdi during the season. And the first building of the theater was there until 1887. Then it was decided that the land would be sold to the bank and the theater should be moved here. So this is the second building, and this construction began in 1890 and it finished in 1908. It took 18 years to finish the theater. And there were 3 architects to work on the building. The first one was an Italian architect who also did the sketches of Casa Rosada or the Pink House, Francesco Tamburini. He only managed to complete some sketches of the theater. He laid the cornerstone, but he died before starting the construction. He was 44 years old, really young. So that's why he was succeeded by another Italian, Vittorio Meani. He started the construction in 1890 and worked in the theater until 1904. But there was like a curse with these architects, because he was murdered by his butler in 1904 when he was 44 years old. His butler and his wife had an affair and he found them, so the butler shoot him and he died. This can be a story of an operation. And that's why there was the last one. That wasn't from Italy, the last one was from Belgium, and he was more than 44. He started to work in the theater at 58 years old. I don't know, or a wife, I don't know. But he was more than 45 for 58 years old. So the last one, Jules Dormal, was the one who finally inaugurated the theater after 18 years, the 25th of May of 1908. The 25th of May of 1810 was the May Revolution that took place in the main square of the city, the main square, that's why it was its name. The Cabildo was like the colonial city council. So that revolution gave us our first national government, the first council. And 6 years after that revolution, the 9th of July of 1816, was the independence of Argentina from the Spanish crown. That's why the name of the largest avenue also. And those are the official performances in the future. So the authorities, like the president, the city mayor, they can come to see these performances, or the presidential inauguration every 4 years too. And they go to the official box. I will show you it then when we get to the main auditorium, as the coat of arms of Argentina is a box for the authorities. Okay, do you have any question until now? The workforce, they work from Europe too, because you have to imagine that these immigrants that used to live in Buenos Aires, they used to know how to work with these imported materials. So if you have a look on the floor, you can see these Venetian tessellations, which were handmade one by one in a fan shape, in the whole building, not only here in the foyer. Also in the grand staircase, you can see that for the stairs they used Carrara marble. The white one was from Italy, the pink marble from Portugal, the balustrade here, the yellow one from Siena, and the red marble that you can see in the base of the pillars was brought from Verona, from Italy too. But this material that you can see covering the walls and the columns, the yellow one, looks like marble, but this is a stucco, it's not marble. It's a high quality imitation of marble that has marble dust, plaster and milk, but it's cheaper and warmer than the marble. And if you have a look up, you can see those stained glass windows or skylights that were brought from Paris, and you can see they are in the middle, the muses. All the stained glass windows that you're going to see today, or the decorative elements of the theater, like the sculptures, are related to the classical cultures. The architectural style of the theater is eclectic style. So it means that there is a mixture of different European architectural styles rather than a unified style. And we can see these eclecticisms of the theater, elements of the French Renaissance, the Italian Renaissance. And if you walk around the city, you're going to see more eclectic buildings. Please come a little closer so we can let the other people out. So you have been in the neighborhoods of Recoleta, Palermo, the north area of the city, maybe you saw those endless museums. Those are eclectic palaces too. The idea of the political men of Buenos Aires since the middle of the 19th century was to change the image of Buenos Aires, that used to be a small Spanish village, into a European city. Some historians even now call Buenos Aires the Paris of South America, and we can see why, due to these eclectic buildings, these important materials, or places like the Golden Hall, which is above the main entrance. We're going there now. That will remind us of the French palace at Versailles. Do you have any question? You're speechless. You haven't seen the main auditorium. Okay, we're going upstairs. Please follow me.
See the details.
you are 34 people, sometimes I cannot see you all. Okay, please. For 2006, like that, all the original fabrics were like that, and here, this is new, the same as the curtains, as you can see. And if you have a look behind you, next to the other mirror, on the right of the other mirror, we can see what do you think?
Very nice.
This is one of the largest opera houses in the world. I mean, with this Italian traditional shape, with this horseshoe shape. And the capacity, remember, is for, please, sorry, you have to sit all together on this side. All together. Thank you. because I don't know if it's coming another group or not, so let's stay all together. So 2,700 people, that is the capacity. In the beginning was for 4,000 people, because the capacity for the audience standing was for 1,300 people.
Wow.
But then it was reduced for a question of safety. And now there is capacity for only 300 people standing in the upper levels at the top.
Oh, okay.
Here in the stalls there are 622 seats. The pink curtains, those are the boxes. Inside of each box there are 6 seats, except on the official box behind you, above the curtains. As I told you before, that has 36 seats because it's for the authorities that they come all together with their families during the official performance. It's the best place to see a performance. In front of the stage, maybe the view is not so good. The audience from there can miss like the 25% of the scene, which is a lot for an opera or a ballet, and they can see backstage sometimes. But when those seats are sold the rest of the season, imagine that the president, maybe he wants to come to see an opera or a ballet, he has his own box that can't be sold never. In the advanced boxes, that means in front of the stage. So you can see a balcony in the second level, the name is the balcony boxes actually. Then the first level is the low boxes, the second one the balcony boxes. So the balcony on the right, that is from the president. It's the president's box. And the balcony on the left is for the city mayor. It's for the city mayor's box.
City mayor.
That balcony in the second level.
But they don't have a good view.
It's not the best view, you're right. Actually, it's the worst view.
Yeah. Let's see one side.
Yeah, that's why they used to go there to be seen, not to see.
How do you get up there? How do you get up?
By elevators or by the staircase.
Inside or outside?
No, we were there actually. We saw the gallery of bust,
Okay.
and we saw those doors, the white doors. Those are the entrances to these boxes. Okay. So the low boxes, the balcony boxes, the upper boxes. Remember that we saw in the main entrance, in the foyer, the main entrance. Even now, if the audience have tickets for the stalls or the boxes, they enter through the main entrance. If they go to Cazuela, these are names in Spanish, the names of the levels, and Tertulia, which are Cazuela, the 4th level, and Tertulia, the 5th level, they enter through Viamonte Street, where is the screen outside. That is Viamonte Street. Cazuela, the 4th level, has boxes. Can you see the curtains? Only 5 on each side. Those boxes were for single women. So if they were single, they were there. This was like the Tinder of the times.
The Tinder at the time.
Until 1940 was like this. Only the richest single women of Buenos Aires. The rest of the level in the front has seats, and in the back part, the audience, they are standing there, still nowadays. But it was only for women standing. And Tertulia, which is the 5th level, was only for men standing in the back part. This is really weird, but this was like this until 2018. So we kept the tradition all those years.
Wow.
And the top, the upper level, that is the gallery, and it's double. In the lower part, there are seats. And in the upper part, the name of that place, the last one, it's the Gods or Paradise, or it's popularly known as the hen house, or in the States you call it the nosebleed section too. But on the ticket doesn't say hen house. This is because in Italy they used to call it pichonaia. They call it pichonaia actually. And pichonaia is hen house. In Spanish it's gallinero. It's the same. In French it's poulailler. So it depends in which country you go, in which language. It's the same. So those are the standing places. Imagine that from a box, the view is not so good in front of the stage. Imagine in the upper level. Sometimes the audience cannot see anything from there. It's not the best place to see a performance, but it's the best place for trying the acoustics, for testing the acoustics, because the sound gets louder there. And this is due to the materials. If you have a look on the floor, we can see wood, and below the wood there is an air box. We can see below every seat these black grates with holes, which are for heating and air conditioner, that also are here to amplify naturally the sound. So this floor works as a resonance chamber. And the sound can travel around the auditorium due to the horseshoe shape. And it can be absorbed in the lower levels by these soft materials like velvet, wood, silk. But in contrast, in the upper levels, from cazuela up to the hen house, there are hard materials like iron, marble, mosaics, bronze. So those materials can reflect the sound and it gets louder. That's why to the hen house goes those who knows a lot about music, like students, musicians, singers, or any people interested in trying the acoustics more than seeing a ballet or an opera. And those who goes there because it's really cheap too. A ticket there can cost $4. So imagine that it's really cheap. It's less than the guided tour ticket. So it's really cheap. So I hope that the next time that you visit us, you can come to see a performance. Remember, from March until December. We sell these like seasonal tickets in December. So there is part of the audience that they can buy tickets for the whole season to see all the operas, the ballets, and the concerts, or a mixture of them. And then in March, we start to sell the rest of the tickets. So that's why it's always sold out. You have to buy the tickets in advance. You have to buy the ticket in March for coming in December to see a performance, because we'll be sold out. Okay. The stage is closed today because we are on a summer recess. So it's closed with this safety curtain, which also works as a fireproof curtain. This curtain can be raised at the same level of the Harlequin's manto, which is the painting that you can see above stage. And above stage there is a deposit of the stage sets that can be lifted and lowered. Remember that there is also a revolving disc below the stage to move the stage set. So the capacity is for almost 5 different stage sets for each opera and each ballet performed, because the stage has the same size of the auditorium. The only difference is on the height. The auditorium is 28 meters high because it has this dome closing it, but this is not the real roof of the theater. If you go out and you stand in the square or the avenue and you have a look at the roof, you're not going to see this dome. We're going to see like a triangle. That is the real roof of the theater. So the stage gets to the real roof because it has a dome. So that's why it's higher, 20 meters more than the auditorium. It's 48 meters high. And on the other side of this dome, there is a room, which is like 300 square meters and gets to the rear roof. And there is the chandelier that we can see in the center of the dome. This chandelier is not hanging at the one that we saw before. It's inside of the dome, inside of this room on the other side. And once a year before the season runs, before March, the center part of the chandelier can be lowered to the stalls with a mechanical system above the seats to change the light bulbs and to clean it, because it has 700 light bulbs and it is 1,400 kilos. So it's heavy. This was made in Argentina too. And it's here since the inauguration. Inside, on the other side, of this dome, the chandelier has like an internal corridor. It's like a hallway or a balcony around the light bulbs. In some performances, mostly the operas, the musicians can go to the roof and then they can get upstairs inside of this balcony around the light bulbs that we can see from here, and they can perform sounds from there. They can play sounds like choir of angels, voices of goddess, birds. So imagine that you're looking to the beat or the stage and the musicians are in complete silence there. But nobody knows where the musicians are because they are hiding from the audience inside of the chandelier. So the idea in the inauguration was that the audience believed that the sound came from heaven. That was like a special effect of the time. And that's why the chandelier is on the other side. The painting that you can see there was made by Raúl Soldi. He was an Argentinian artist, and he painted in 1966. The original painting in the inauguration was made by Marcel Chambon, the same artist who painted the Harlequin's Mantle, this French artist, but that was damaged, so in the 40s it was took off, and the ceiling was painted with a red color like this without any figure until the 60s. In 1965, Raúl Soldi was hired, and these are 16 canvas which were placed with plaster there, in which we can see these scenes of dancing, music, instruments. All is related to the wall of the opera and the ballet. And here on the right, we can see also around the dome the surnames of the composers, the one that we saw in the Gallery of Bath, and another symphonic music composers too. Where you can see on the right Beethoven, above you can see these people playing chess. There is a signature of Soldi, the year 1966, and these people playing chess are there because Soldi saw that during the intermissions the artists were relaxing playing chess, so he painted there too. If you have a look now over there near the stairs, you can see those black grates with holes. Can you see them? Those were boxes too. Those were boxes for the widows. The richest widows of Buenos Aires, they were on a mourning period for 2 years, so they couldn't be seen. And from here we can see better also the standing places in the upper level.
So
That's
is it
nice.
2 rows or is there gold railing
Only
seats?
Cazuela and Tertulia, the fourth and the fifth level, all that you can see in this color, those are seats in red color, and in the back they are standing, and in the upper level, in the lower part there are seats, and in the upper part they are standing.
Widow's boxes. That's cool.
When the widows, I think that we were allowed to come closer.
Kind of cool.
This is the original link. Still working. We have a new one. I told you that in the beginning there were leaf. So that way, please. And these are the entrances to the boxes. But they are closed now.
Okay.
The row there, that we just left that you were shining the light on,
Yes.
people sit in there and,
The widows. No, nowadays.
not nowadays. Okay.
Sometimes the people work here in the theater or the students of the School of the Theater, maybe they can go there.
Okay.
But
You don't have very good views through those.
no. Do you have any other question? No? Okay. Thank you so much for coming. I hope I enjoyed the tour. I hope the next time that you visit us, that you can come to see a performance.
Okay.
That is